As we survey the biblical prophecies and measure them against present events, it is hard to deny the weight of evidence that is building up. If these are the end times predicted by the prophets, then we can expect the missing pieces of the prophetic puzzle to rapidly fall in place.
In 1957, an event occurred that could mark the beginning of the fulfillment of Daniel's prophecy. On May 25th of that year, 6 nations gathered in Rome to sign a treaty which laid the foundation of the European Common Market. Since 1957, the Common Market has expanded to 9 nations, and there are strong indications that a 10th nation will be added in the near future. Could this be the 10-nation confederacy that Daniel spoke of, the successor of the Roman Empire? We cannot at this moment be certain, but taken in the context of biblical prophecy, it is a significant development. As we have seen, Jerusalem is the key to the future of mankind. Ever since the Israelis captured it in 1967, we have had a perpetual crisis in the Middle East. This fulfillment of the prophecies displaced Arabs who had dwelt in Palestine for centuries. The Jews will never be convinced that they should leave the land that God gave to their forefathers. They believe that they were robbed of their inalienable right to the land by the Romans. Centuries of persecution have shown that there's no country in the world where they can be assured of continuing acceptance, much less safety. During the Second World War, 6 million Jews were exterminated in Europe. And this is something that no Jew can ever forget. Therefore, the return to Israel is not only a fulfillment of the biblical prophecies, but a matter of survival in a hostile world. The Arabs are equally implacable in their unwillingness to accept the Israeli occupation of what they consider to be their land. It has become a matter of national honor and religious duty to drive out the Israelis. As political events continue to fall into the prophetic pattern, the big question becomes, when will the 7-year countdown begin?
According to Daniel, the Middle East crisis will escalate to the point where the peace of the whole world will be threatened. At this crucial moment in history, the Antichrist will appear, and as leader of the 10-nation confederacy, will sign a mutual defense pact with Israel. The moment that this treaty is signed, the countdown will begin.
For the situation the way it is in the Middle East today, we hear a lot of talk about making Israel give up her captured Arab territories in return for guarantees by the United States or the United Nations. Although there are great pressures being put on Israel to make these concessions, there are many observers who warn against it.
We have made a covenant with death, and with hell are we in agreement. These were the words of Isaiah, who said that Israel will sign a pact with the Antichrist, and this will be the beginning of the end. By solving the Middle East crisis, the Antichrist will be hailed as the Savior of mankind. In Revelation, the prophet John says that the Antichrist will dominate the world for 1,260 days. There will be a period of great economic expansion, and people will praise the Antichrist for bringing them the peace and the prosperity they all hunger after.
But then, without warning, the war that everyone has been dreading will erupt in the Middle East. Seeking to take advantage of their dominant economic position, the Arabs will attack the state of Israel. Reacting to this development, the Russians will sweep into the Middle East and occupy the Holy Land. There will be a great host, a mighty army like a cloud covering the land. Then Daniel says the king of the north will stretch out his hand against Egypt and her allies. In other words, Russia will double-cross the Arabs and occupy their territories, gaining control of the world's major oil supplies. At the same time, Communist China, identified in the Book of Revelations as the kings of the East, begins to mobilize an army of 200 million men. As the forces of East and West move into the Middle East, the stage will be set for the final battle of history, the confrontation man has been dreading for centuries, the fulfillment of the prophecy of Armageddon.